So we're actually going to take North Avenue all the way forward to Kilbourne Park, which is on the top of a hill that overlooks the entire city and I think has some of the best views of the city. So UWM traditionally was like a commuter college where a lot of people drove from the suburbs and went to school there, and they've really done a lot in the last few decades to make it more of a university. So these two buildings on the river here are dorms. You can see there's more development happening down on this side of town, which is great to see because this side of town, it's taken a little bit of time for it to, come back. I used to drive past this building on the corner every day, and it's just been so neglected, and it's such a beautiful building. So it's been a while since I've driven over here, and I've never been over here on the scooter, so I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be able to stop somewhere and get a view, but I'm going to try. I may have to do a U-turn. Well, here's a parking lot. So yeah, like I said, other than the garbage can in front of us, probably one of the best views of the city that you can get. Up on the hill, overlooking the entire city. Yeah, I love this view. Alright, let's keep going. We're going to turn around because if you go around this hill and around the park, you instantly become in a much, much worse neighborhood. In fact, it's one of the roughest neighborhoods in the city, which is just so crazy because of how close it is to some really, really nice areas. The neighborhood just north of us here is called the River West neighborhood, and it's very much known as being like the hippie neighborhood. So down on the south side we had Bayview, which is hipster. River West is hippie. Alright, so we're going to come down the hill. This is Humboldt. And we're going to turn here on Commerce Street. Commerce Street used to be a railroad as well. And this runs parallel to the river again, but on the opposite side of Water Street. And this used to be all industrial tanneries and manufacturing. It was really dirty down here. And again, probably 20 years ago, somebody decided, because all that industry left, somebody decided that they should do something, and they started building all of these condos right up on the rivers. They cleaned up the river and put these luxury condos right on the river, and now this is some of the most expensive real estate in the city. Got Lakefront Brewery here, which is, I think, one of the most toured things from tourists when they come here. Definitely recommend it. Great brewery tours, awesome food. Friday nights they have polka. So they did some road diets here. I like that. Alright, and so now we're at the end of Commerce at Pleasant Street. And we're entering into what's considered, well, just south of Pleasant Street is the Schlitz Park neighborhood, which is mostly an office park at this point and a medical facility. But they're trying to get some residential in there. And to our right is Brewers Hill, which, again, it's so weird because Brewers Hill is a super nice neighborhood because it overlooks the city with that view that we just saw. But everything north of it is pretty awful. And it's just, I don't know, just a few blocks and you are in a drastically different world. Alright, so this is 3rd Street or Martin Luther King Drive. To the north is the heart of the black community. And to the south, where we're going to go, back into the city, is another really well-known entertainment strip, which is my favorite. I spent a lot of time there in my 20s. It's also the closest district to the Deer District and Fiserv Forum, where the Milwaukee Bucks play. So this is the old Schlitz Brewery on our left, with the iconic Cream City brick. I love it. One of my favorite things about this city is the architecture and the bricks. Now remember, we're west of the river now. So as we continue south, to our right is Haymarket Square neighborhood, which is being gentrified now. And to our south, on the opposite side of McKinley, is Kilbourne Town. Getting a phone call. Alright, turn that off. My dad, I'll have to call him back. We're working on some stuff with one of his properties. Alright, so a lot of action happening over here. This is where the Fiserv Forum is. Milwaukee Bucks play there. They just won the championship a couple of years ago. Well, the ownership team bought up a lot of this land. This used to be a freeway that came through here. It was the Park Freeway. They took that down probably 30 years ago, and it sat vacant for a very long time. And now there's been all this investment, new skyscraper, the Trade Hotel, and this entertainment strip that just runs for several blocks. And I'm telling you, on Friday, Saturday night, this place is packed. People in the streets, nowhere to park. Got Mater's restaurant across the street, is an icon in Milwaukee. Authentic German food. It's like a night's bar. On the left is Usinger's, the famous Usinger's brats and sausages. Milwaukee's a very German city. Right on the left we have Pierre Marquette Park and the Wisconsin Humane Society, Historical Society, Humane Society. This used to be an old bank, and it's really cool to go inside there. You can have events in there. I'm pretty sure there's some scenes from the movie Public Enemies filmed there. Right here is the Hyatt Hotel, Hyatt Regency Milwaukee, and there used to be a hotel there called the Roosevelt Hotel, where I forget which president it was, but I think it was one of the, I don't know, I forget which president, but one of the presidents was shot there. He gave his speech and then he went and got help after his speech. And in front of us is the 3rd Street Market Hall, which is a new food court pretty much downtown. It's pretty cool. This used to be the Grand Avenue Mall, and as we've seen with most malls, especially downtown malls, it was failing. And so rather than have all this vacant space right in our downtown area, Developers came in, they bought it, they turned a lot of it into commercial office space, apartments. They retained a little bit of retail on the first floor, but mostly turned it to residential, and then the middle, which was the lobby or pretty much the main section of the mall, was turned into pretty much a gathering space with, I don't know, like a food hall. Well, I guess we can't go on Wisconsin, so we're gonna go east on Wisconsin. We're gonna go past the Werner Grand Theater, which is just redone. Like I said, with all these grand theaters, historic theaters that we have, this is where the symphony is. The other one must be the ballet. We got the Riverside Theater on the left. Well, it looks like we have the bridge opening, so we're going to be stuck here for a bit. Don't think I can get through there. Could try. Alright, so she yelled at me, but whatever. I fit. I didn't hit anybody. Alright, so we're going to turn back on Michigan here. They're all waiting for the bridge as well. But we don't need to go over the river, because we're going to head home now. Alright, I want to get back up onto Wisconsin Avenue, because that's Milwaukee's Grand Avenue. It's the main road. It's still closed. Okay, well, guess we're going to be doing a U-turn. Wonder if you can get through over there. No, you can't. I used to work at this hotel as well. This is the Hilton. They're putting in a plaza here with a streetcar stop. And it looks like must be some sort of building. I don't know, maybe a restaurant? Who knows? Well, it looks like I can get through over here, so cool. Alright, so that's 6th. Again, if we were just trying to get home as quickly as possible, we'd take that straight south to Oklahoma and we'd be home. But we're going to take Milwaukee's Grand Avenue. And we're going to go over I-94, and we're going to go through Marquette University. To our right is the Milwaukee Public Museum. Again, incredible architecture. And then now we're entering into Marquette University. Now, being that it's in the school year, I suspect it to be pretty busy over here. I'm not exactly sure what time it is, so could be in classes and stuff, but and Marquette University is, you know, a top-notch school. It's probably one of the most recognizable names in private schools in the country. They have an incredible basketball program. Many notable people that have gone to school here that have gone on to do, professional sports, and just, they have a great dentistry program, law school. Very prestigious school. Yep, pretty busy. And the one thing about Marquette is the alumni of the school really care, are very prideful of their school, so there's always a lot of money coming into this school from donations. There's always development happening over here. It's pretty rare to come into the Marquette University area and not see something new being built. However, as soon as you get out of the university area, it becomes incredibly questionable. So we're going to drive all the way to the Miller Brewery, but you'll see as soon as we get up here to 27th Street and beyond, it's a much different world. There we've got the old Pabst Mansion. Coming up on the left is going to be a popular music venue called The Rave and the Eagles Ballroom. Now there is some development happening on this side of town, but it's still struggling. But it's got really good bones, so I think eventually in time this will be another neighborhood that gentrifies. So coming up on our right is the Tripoli Shrine. Already noticeably warmer. So, Milwaukee's divided from the north and the south by a large valley, which is called the Menominee River Valley. And so it sits on like two ridges, and divided by these very long viaducts. They're basically bridges over land. And we're going to go across one here soon, but I want to go through the Miller Brewery first. You see, we're not that far from downtown, and yet this neighborhood is pretty rough. In fact, I'm going straight into what a lot of people would consider the hood. But this is where the Milwaukee Brewery is. And this used to be it still is a very blue-collar neighborhood with brewery workers and so this is called the Miller Valley. And this is the Miller Brewing Company. Another place that you should definitely stop if you're visiting Milwaukee is the Miller Brewery. They have free tours. You just have to sign up for one of them in advance, I believe. They give you free beer on the tour. You get to see all their facilities, their warehousing, how they brew it. It's a pretty awesome experience to see how a large-scale brewery does business. Lakefront Brewery and some of the other smaller craft breweries are interesting as well because it's very much more, I wouldn't say hands-on, but you can get really up close and personal, whereas in the Miller Brewery, it's definitely a much more corporatized thing, and it's on a whole nother scale. It's pretty incredible if you think about it. Alright, so we're going to head back to 35th Street. Actually, I figure since we're on this way, we can just we might as well head back down to Grand Avenue. Can't go on the freeway. Can honestly say I've never been in this neighborhood, so I'm a little confused. But that's okay. So yeah, Milwaukee's very much known for its brewing culture, brewing history. You can visit all the old breweries. Pabst is actually back here in Milwaukee in its old facility. It just doesn't brew the beer here. I think Miller had a deal with them to brew their beer, but I don't know where they brew it anymore. But their corporate headquarters is here. So if I'm remembering correctly, we're in the Washington Heights neighborhood right now. A lot of police activity right here. Wow. Probably because of the police department right here. So we are on Bleat in the Washington Heights neighborhood. As we continue west, we'll get into Wauwatosa. Wauwatosa is also another trendy suburb in the Milwaukee area, so we're actually going to be out of the city of Milwaukee for the first time, and we're going to be in Wauwatosa, which, yeah, it's a trendy neighborhood, higher property values than the surrounding areas, retains a lot of that small town feel, kind of like Bayview. However, it has a river that goes through it, has the Menominee River. I think the other thing that's really cool about Wauwatosa is it has a lot of, because of the river, it has a lot of hills and elevation changes. It's also very park-like, as you can see. I mean, it's a beautiful area of the city. The rents and home prices are quite a bit higher here.
Say a command.
Typically you have a little bit older homes here.
Intercom 2.
I don't know, my helmet started doing things. So yeah, elevation changes bring out some really cool neighborhoods. We're still in Washington Heights right now, but so our former governor lives in this neighborhood. Alright, so this is Wauwatosa East High School, so you can tell we're now in Wauwatosa. Okay, now I wanted to turn there, but because I didn't want to wait for the other person, I'm going to turn here on Underwood. Yeah, I think the Milwaukee metro area is very much a hidden gem. I think a lot of people underestimate what Milwaukee has to offer. So I just kind of wanted to drive around in this neighborhood a little bit, kind of give you an idea of what Wauwatosa has to offer before we go back down through its downtown. Alright, we'll kind of come back around. And we'll turn left instead. And come back through. Not between those times. Okay, so there are people out. Wauwatosa has always been known as kind of like the little bit upper scale, inner ring suburb west of Milwaukee. I would say most of the inner ring suburbs are very blue collar, whereas this is more of a white collar neighborhood. And the same goes for when you go east of the river, north of the city, like Shorewood and Whitefish Bay. Now we're on State Street. Which is the same State Street that goes into Milwaukee and through its downtown. Alright, we're going to get on Hawley. I know it looks like an expressway, but it's not, I promise.